Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in this particular video, we're going to be continuing the conversation, but more so pushing things forwards with the idea of branding. And more specifically, what's the difference between brand identity versus brand strategy? Now, yes, you do need to know these differences, and yes, you do need to make sure that you are up on the game with understanding how each and every one of them actually helps to reinforce what it is that you're doing, but more so specifically, which one to pay the most attention to. Now, when you watch this video, you're going to be understanding exactly that. You're also going to be understanding what it means to be able to make sure that you are standing true to yourself, standing true to your brand more specifically. Because if you don't stand true to your brand, you don't know how to present when it comes to others knowing and wanting to find out even more about what it is that you do. Equally, you won't know how to connect better with the right type of audience. So pay attention to all of what I've got to share with you within this particular video and get to know all these key things, especially about how to make the right kind of connections with the right kind of an audience. And also, once again, to make sure that you are standing true to yourself within your brand so that it's congruent to your standards and your beliefs. And here's the reason why it's super important to be able to make sure that you do these things, especially. It's important because it'll be the difference between you standing out, showing up as you authentically and genuinely, more importantly, and yes, there is a difference between the two. It'll be the difference between you doing that, talking to the right kind of an audience, knowing exactly how to speak to your certain people pool, and also knowing exactly what to say in a way that allows your message to be resonated with, versus you throwing the world at a wall, fingers crossed, hitting and hoping something is going to stick, and hopefully whoever's watching or coming across your path actually pays attention. So know what the difference is between your brand identity and your brand strategy so that all these things can happen, and equally clients can start seeking you out rather than the other way around. So before you get stuck into this particular video, make sure you stick around to the very end, because as always I've got something to share with you to make sure that you continue all the things that I share with you in this video and actually get going with it today. Not tomorrow, but today. The other thing as well I would love for you to do, because I'm very aware of my views and I'm loving them. Thank you so much for showing your support in that way. But now I need you to do this one extra thing. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. Because when you do that, that means that other people can then go ahead and come and watch what it is I have to share about branding. Branding is one of the most underrated things that could really help and benefit business owners, all those in the coaching space, all those in the architectural world, all those in the beauty and business and health and well-being spaces as well, and then some. It's the one big thing that a lot of people miss out on, and if they paid attention just to a couple of these things that I share with you, especially on this channel, if they paid attention to them, well then they'd start seeing the results that they're actually looking for. They start building the momentum of awareness that again they are looking for. They being the business owners, they being the entrepreneurs, they who are looking forwards to making a difference with what it is they're doing, and equally understanding why it is that they're actually doing it. So with that in mind, please make sure that you go ahead and like and share this particular video as well as this channel. Subscribe to it, and folks, without further ado, let's just get stuck into it. So okay, as I said to you, we're going to be talking about the difference between brand identity as well as brand strategy, and more specifically, why it even matters. So first thing that you need to make sure that you just know in general, this is a key fundamental, okay? So write this down as well. If you've got a pen and paper to hand, make sure that you write this down, make a note, make a mental note, however you do, just make a note. Okay, so the key thing that you need to make sure that you understand first and foremost, what is an identity and what is a strategy when it comes to branding. Your identity is essentially the visual part of it, okay? And then think of your strategy as essentially the direction or even the method, how it happens, how it could happen, but not just for everybody, more specifically for you. So identity, visual, strategy is all about the direction and method. So now knowing those key things, this is what typically happens. A lot of people, more specifically business owners or entrepreneurs, they will always pay attention to the identity first and sometimes forget about the strategy. But here's what that does. When you just concentrate on identity, sure, it's going to look pretty and amazing and actually beautiful, all these amazing things. However, it's gonna fall flat because people won't start paying attention to it. They won't understand what it is that you're doing and why it is that you're doing it, and equally you won't know how to share it. The strategy will help you to structure all those key things. Who it is that you need to be paying attention, why they should be paying attention to you more specifically, and how it is that you can actually show up in a way that's congruent to your standards and beliefs, but also in a way that allows them to start paying attention to you, simply because you know how it is that you can help them, and more specifically with your message in mind, with your story in mind, with your credibility in mind, with the testimonials that you would have had. They'll now be able to pay attention because they get it. And more specifically, they understand you as being the right fit. That's the difference. The average business owner, the average entrepreneur won't even pay attention to the idea of strategy. They're just going to go straight forwards to the idea of the identity. And yes, that's cool. However, we need the strategy in place. And with that in mind, what typically happens is because they've gone for identity first, they forget about the strategy, or maybe they try and run towards the strategy and then realize that now that they've got this strategy, but understanding some key fundamentals, typically what I call the brand power of 3, once they've understood that, they then look back and realize their identity doesn't even match the strategy, or the identity doesn't even match who it is that they are. But they went with that identity because they thought it looked pretty, it looked cool, and thought, yeah, I kind of resonate with it. No, don't kind of do anything, folks. Be sure about it. Be super direct with it. Your strategy will help with your clarity. Your strategy will also help with your certainty as to what that identity should look like in the first place. Also remember this key point, pretty isn't powerful without purpose. I'm going to say that again, pretty isn't powerful without purpose. So put some strategy behind what it is that you're doing, because now things start having meaning. Now things have a more direct and purposeful approach. So obviously key fundamentals right there. Now let's talk about why it really matters. Well, it matters when especially key 3 things more specifically are not addressed when it comes to building that strategy, a strong strategy that is, around the awareness of your identity in the first place. So your strategy matters so that with trust, with consistency, and with recognition as well, the idea of your identity can actually be seen. The idea of your identity can equally have the awareness built around it, but in a strong kind of a way. Now, your strategy, these 3 things that I've just mentioned to you, the idea of trust, consistency, as well as recognition, right? You need these because without trust, well, people don't understand why they should be coming to you or why they should recognize you as being the right fit in the first place. Consistency being the idea of, if you're not showing up consistently with either the message or your look or whatever your consistent brand image is, if you are not showing up with that consistency, even when we talk about coloring, even when we talk about fonts, that visual side of it, well, then you're confusing your audience once again. Don't confuse your audience, because as we know, confused people don't buy, and equally confused people start shying away and understanding, wait, why are you the right fit? Again, it questions that fact. So pay attention to those 2 things. And when it comes to recognition as well, all those 2 things that I've literally just shared with you allow you to be recognized even more. Remember, repetition equals reputation. So start building elements that allow others to recognize who it is that you are. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by, again, coloring, by fonts, by phrases more specifically, by sharing your message consistently. All these 3 key things that I've just shared with you literally go hand in hand in order to make sure that the strategy that you're building around your brand allows all the awareness to start being built around the identity that you're creating for your brand too. Now, I'd like to just stress this point right here. Please know and understand, and I know I've done a few videos around this, but please know and understand that your logo is not your identity, okay? Nor is your logo your strategy. It has nothing to do with that. Your logo is an outcome of your brand. Your brand identity is something completely different. It allows others, this is your identity that is, once again, it's the visual side of it, but it's not your logo. So your logo, think of it as being the doorway to what it is that you're doing, allowing people to be attracted to what it is that you do, to literally draw their attention towards you while you're not there. Your identity is what helps to talk for you. So imagine all of your roller banners, all your flyers, any promotional item that you have when it comes to messaging, sharing your message, how it is that you actually help people, whether you're product based or an actually general service based business. All these key things actually allow you to build up your identity. So make sure that yes, you don't just stop at your logo, or you don't just stop at your website. Build a strategy first so that all these key things can actually come and actually be the outcomes that they need to be in order for your audience to start being made aware of what your brand identity is. And especially when we talk about consistency, this is why it's important to understand why things can sometimes get misaligned, especially when it comes to branding. And it's a very easy line to cross without you realizing it. However, when you recognize these two key things, you're going to know and appreciate it a hell of a lot more, especially when it comes to your own brand. How can you make sure that you don't cross that line, okay? So let's look at Coke and let's look at Pepsi. Now, Coca-Cola, as we know, right? It's all about presenting the idea of togetherness, family. It's all about making that joyful time, and also making sure that, in times of celebration, this is where you come together and you have a Coke to celebrate, whether it be the holidays, whether it be a picnic, whether it be a party, whatever the occasion may be, right? You got Coca-Cola to make sure that everybody is brought together in one big hug, because you know about the Coca-Cola hug. They're brought together in one big hug, but also brought together in the idea of unity, right? Now, Pepsi. Let's look at Pepsi. Pepsi has a similar idea in the sense of unity. It builds unity, it brings unity together, and it allows for recognition or even representation to happen in a slightly different kind of a way. It's all about making the difference globally, in the sense where if there's a protest, or if there's, again, a common ground to be had or to be made, unity in this respect is what Pepsi typically presents. However, there's times where Pepsi starts misaligning on a few things, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to draw your attention to two examples. So there's two adverts. Both of these were pretty much done quite a long time ago, and I'll drop some links underneath this video as well. First video that I'm referring to is all about the idea of Pepsi trying to technically take the mick out of Coca-Cola. Now, what they did was they showed a little kid literally going to a vending machine and buying 2 cans of Coke from the vending machine, but then standing on the 2 cans of Cokes in order to get to the Pepsi button, which they then ordered. Now, this is Pepsi's take, in my opinion. I guess in a way that they were trying to take the mick out of Coke, as I just said. However, to me, I felt like it kind of backfired just a little bit, because to me, that also represents the idea of standing on the shoulders of giants. So, I don't know, maybe they were trying to pay homage to Coke, but still same time letting them know that, hey, we're the new kids on the block and we do mean business here. But at the same time, they've just put $2 in to get 2 cans of Coke. So, and to also stand on the shoulders of giants. To me, that's still benefiting Coke, no? Anyway, that's one example. Second example, where misalignment kind of backfired, where their message kind of backfired. And again, the misaligning message literally misaligned, right? So this other advert, this was using Kendall Jenner. For those of you who don't know, she's part of the Kardashian family. Now, she was doing her job, right? She was doing being directed in the sense where, hey, we're going to talk about protests, because at the time it was all about protests. To be fair, we're still in a day and age of protests, right? That is still happening. Very meaningful protests. And this particular ad was literally referencing a woman who took the chance and literally stood in front of a police barricade, who had, the rubber bullets and who had the shields all at the ready and so forth. But she took the chance to showcase peace. Kendall Jenner's character in this particular ad literally showcased peace by handing over a can of Coke. But now, here's where unfortunately the message kind of got lost, and again had a bit of a misalignment in this respect. So unfortunately, what happened was the daughter of Martin Luther King literally saw the advert and said, well, hell, if only my dad knew to make sure that he had a can of Coke with him in order to be able to create peace, we would have had one hell of a simple argument going, right? Obviously, I'll paraphrase that. But at the same time, the concept of what Pepsi was trying to do got misaligned, right? So what that shows me, and equally shows a lot of people, is that you've got to make sure when it comes to your brand message, especially when you're tapping into a topical issue, be sensitive to what that issue is. You know, there are other brands out there as well who are using riots, who are using stampedes of people running for their lives, ways to promote sales. Again, misalignment. Think about it when you're talking or trying to relate topical issues to what it is that you are doing. Be very mindful as to the magnitude that your message could actually have. Be very mindful as to what it is that you're trying to say within this message in the beginning. So be super mindful as to how you make sure that you are representing what it is that you're doing and why it is that you're doing it more specifically in a way that's congruent to your standards and beliefs, but actually stick to it. That's the key right there. Stick to it, especially when we talk about consistency. So there we have it, folks. So essentially, brand identity equals the visual side of things. Strategy or brand strategy is literally the do, the method, the direction as to how you're taking things, but also why you're taking it in the identity direction, right? So you need the strategy in order to be able to make sure that the identity stands out in the way that it should be standing out. And with that in mind, trust, consistency, and recognition will all help your strategy to keep flowing in the direction of your identity so that others can literally understand the reason why as to you look the way you look, but equally why you're also helping those you are helping in that specific kind of a way. So I'm going to leave it there, folks. Share with me, what was your biggest takeaway here? And more specifically, here's what you can do to make sure that all those things that I've just shared actually start resonating or actually start being applied to what it is that you're about more specifically. Not your neighbor down the road or the average Joe across the road. No, you specifically. Now, what I want you to do, click on the link that's underneath this particular video, and it's usually the first link. So click on that first link that will take you to my 6 principles. Now, these 6 principles are essentially checklists that I need for you to make sure that you go ahead and download. And when you download them, you're going to be able to understand what your brand power of 3 is more specifically. Who the right person is that you should be speaking to, especially when you're trying to connect with them. And also how, with all of that in mind, you can start building a strategy that really resonates with the idea of how you want to build the awareness around your identity as well. So I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you go ahead and do so. Once again, share your biggest takeaway from this particular video. And folks, I will see you on the other side.